Hey everyone, thank you for joining me for another YouTube video discussion. Now this video is a little bit of a throwback because it's something that we've already talked about in the past, but I feel like now that we have Nintendo going in a different direction, we have them taking the movies and their game properties a little bit more seriously, I feel, and with the success of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, I feel like Nintendo's going to make more movies, more TV shows, bring more of their franchises over to a big screen, or even maybe a TV show. So I wanted to revisit an older topic that I did, in which I talked about my picks for the top gaming franchises that I feel as though should be turned into a TV show or a movie. And really this is more aimed towards Nintendo since they're the most recent one to come out with a movie. But I do want to hear your thoughts down below. What do you want to see turned into a movie? What would you like to see turned into a TV show? How would you like to do it if you had the chance to do it? So I'm probably going to throw 5 out there, and I may throw some honorable mentions of others that I'd like to see, even though they're going to probably be the least likely to be done. And of course, older picks like Fatal Frame are not going to show up in here because I believe Nintendo has lost the rights to Fatal Frame. I don't think it's an exclusive Nintendo title anymore. So, there you go. But number 1 is the most obvious one since they showed up in the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and that is Donkey Kong, for the reasons that I've already mentioned. We already have the voice actor, Seth Rogen. We already have the animation done through Illumination. We already have everything set up. We had the Kong village introduced. Donkey Kong, Cranky Kong, Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, they're all right there. So now all you have to do is sort of explain where King K. Rool came from. Why he's here, what is he doing, what does he want. It could basically follow the Donkey Kong Country games if you wanted to. Or you can be creative with it. However, I think that is the next in line. It just makes the most sense. We already have it all right there already. But that's just my 2 cents. Now, number 2 is one that I would love to see done. And we would have to just sort of either use the same voice actor or come up with someone that sounds like what Nintendo would want her to sound like. Metroid. Now, Metroid I think would be a great throwback kind of movie because of the fact is that Metroid is based on Alien, for those that didn't know. I mean, you even have Ridley that was named after the director of Alien, Ridley Scott. So, when you have that kind of a game, I think that the movie's going to follow suit. You know, small corridors, slime, scary sounds. It could almost be not necessarily a horror movie, but be a little bit darker and have maybe a little bit more mature stuff going on. Not necessarily an M-rated movie, maybe PG-13, but I still think that it would be very good to do. And I don't even know who I'd want to be Samus, considering the fact that most of the time she'd be in her suit. I don't think it'd really even matter. You could probably just have somebody that's just a voice actor and basically have Samus in the suit 100% of the time. But I do think that for a Metroid movie, you'd want to follow Metroid 2. It makes the most sense. 1, because Metroid 2 establishes the history of the Metroids, their evolutions. You know, you have the Mother Metroid, the Queen Metroid, whatever you want to say, and I could instantly just see this battle between them almost being something like the final battle of Aliens between Sigourney Weaver's character and the Alien Queen. But that's just me. What do you guys want to see from a Metroid movie? Or do you think it would work better as a TV show? I think it would work better as a movie, personally, just because then it's a short little hour-and-a-half movie. If it's successful, then you just continue from there. Maybe do Super Metroid. Maybe do Prime. There's so many stories in the Metroid timeline to use. Number 3 is another sci-fi classic from Nintendo, and that is Star Fox. Star Fox, again, could be almost fully animated, have some great visuals going on, and is basically all right there, ready for you to hand pick. You want to do land battles? You have had land battles that have happened in other Star Fox games. You can do the dog fights that happen in the R-Wings. You have Andross and Galactic Conquest. The story's all right there. The characters are all right there. And then if you want to throw in a love triangle or something, you can do that. You can easily bring in Panther LaRoe or whatever his last name is, I'm sorry, and do the whole thing of Crystal and Fox and all that. But, again, it really just depends upon how you want to do it. I just think that it'd be good. Almost to a sense, I think that a series would almost work better for Star Fox, just to have the whole history of Fox's dad. But you can easily do that in a 10-minute monologue or something, a little 5-minute monologue at the beginning. It's not necessarily a deal breaker, but I see it working either way. What do you guys think? My next pick would probably be Kid Icarus. It's kind of hard to say, because yeah, they could have a lot of fun with the Greek mythology and all that. And there's only been 3 games in the Kid Icarus series, but the last one presented a lot of story, has a lot of humor, and truthfully, I see if they did a Kid Icarus movie, it probably being more of like a live action kind of thing, or an animated movie, like hand animated, like an anime almost. But I think it'd be a lot of fun to do it with live action actors, with like CGI for wings and all that stuff like that. You know, Lady Palutena. But that really depends, is because of the fact that it's not that well known of a Nintendo franchise. It was sort of mentioned, it was shown for just a couple of seconds in video game form, the original NES Kid Icarus in the Super Mario Brothers movie. So maybe that's sort of a hint, but again, who knows? I think it'd be a fun time, and I think it'd be a good way to establish an older Nintendo franchise again that hasn't been out since the 3DS into the modern world again. But what do you guys think about that? And before I surprise you with my last pick, here are some honorable mentions. Games that I thought about throwing in there, but I was just kind of like, I don't know. One of those is Yoshi. I mean, we already know Yoshi is established with the Mario Brothers movie, so them making a movie or a series based entirely upon Yoshi, maybe more of a series, like a spin-off series where Yoshi has his own adventures with other Yoshis, almost like a Yoshi story or a Yoshi's Island kind of game. You know, like how you have Yoshi's Crafted World and Yoshi's Woolly World and all that stuff, almost like that. You know, like Yoshi has his own adventures going on with the other Yoshis. That has nothing to do with Mario. But Yoshi, I think, would still just show up in a second Mario Brothers movie, or be a whatever part of it is. So it's almost kind of hard to say, because if you were to make a spin-off movie from a character, I would almost say Wario would work better. But again, even though Wario has had his own games, the Wario Land games, the Wario World, you know, he's had his own games, he is more of an established Mario character. I mean, what does he mostly show up in? Mario Kart, Mario Tennis. He shows up in the spin-off games, so I think that he'd show up in a spin-off movie, even though I'd want him to have his own series or his own movie. And to that extent, I would also say something like an Eternal Darkness, even though I'd like to see Eternal Darkness, and Nintendo does have the IP name, like the copyright to it. I just don't know if it would work, since we don't have Silicon Knights around anymore to make another one. And I don't know if Nintendo has any intentions of continuing with a horror series that is their own. I think it'd be interesting to see Nintendo do something like that. Also, another mention, just because it was also kind of briefly kind of teased in the movie, a Luigi's Mansion game. Yeah, a movie based upon Luigi's Mansion, I think would be cool too. And then lastly, Punch Out. Now, Punch Out would be really cool to do. But again, how would that work? Do you have it be more like, an upcoming boxer tries to fight his way to... That sounds like Rocky. Punch Out sounds like it would work like a Rocky movie kind, and I think it would just be compared to Rocky. So I'm sorry, as much as I would like to see a Punch Out movie, I just don't see it working because of that. But I'm going to go ahead and just throw it out there because I can't think of any other series that could work better than Legend of Zelda. And you kind of knew it was going to be my number one pick. But again, Legend of Zelda is one of those hard ones. It's at the very end of the list for a reason, because I think it's the least likely to happen unless they just break the mold when it comes to this. They either come out with like an anime type hand-drawn movie, almost like The Last Unicorn kind of stuff, where it's this interesting fantasy world, but the protagonist doesn't talk and all of the action is done through the side characters, which I think would bore the audience. Or you have to break the mold and make Link talk, which might throw off the fans of the series. Because at least with Mario would say stuff. Let's go, woohoo. He would say stuff. So you got an idea of his character. Link, outside of a hiya or grunts, doesn't really say anything. So I think that would be the least likely one to be done out of the ones that we've mentioned, but I still would like to see it. I mean, let's face it, I'm just a sucker for that, for Zelda. And when I instantly start thinking of like, oh man, you've got Game of Thrones and you've got The Witcher and all this stuff. Why don't you make a darker Zelda series like The Witcher? Or like a Game of Thrones style. Something that's dark, not necessarily gruesome. Still kind of keep it PG-13, of course. But something that, again, can be appreciated for an older audience, but also something that is still good enough for a younger audience to also appreciate also. But those are just my picks. There's a lot of games that I wanted to say, but I only wanted to try to list 5 here, just for the chance of thinking, hey, what are the most likely candidates? What are some of the biggest series that Nintendo's known for, and what are the ones that could most likely work as a movie? And those are the ones I thought of. Animal Crossing, huge series. Don't know how it would work as a movie, especially a live action or an animated one from Illumination or something. Yes, I know we have the Japanese animated one, but that's a weird one. So, and then there's others out there. But if I had to think of, hey, what could work the most? What is the most likely series that if you were to pluck it up and say, this is going to be turned into a series or a movie, I'd say I can see how that's going to work. But again, those are just my opinions. I encourage you to put yours down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you had to think. Did you think of one that I didn't think of? And how it would work? I'd love to hear it. But of course, this is just one man's opinion on the internet. More do I know. I've only been playing Nintendo pretty much all my life. But I don't know what Nintendo has planned. I don't know if they're even going to determine that Mario is a successful enough franchise to continue forward with other ones. I don't know. But just in the off likely chance that they do, I wanted to throw this video out there. And I thank you for watching, as always. No pressure from me, but you can always feel free to like and subscribe. And like I said, leave a comment in the below. But no pressure from me. The only thing that I hope that you do is you have a great rest of your week. Because just in case something happens and I don't get a chance to make additional content this week, have a great week and have a great day. And I'll see you next time in the next video. Let's go retro.